Okay, it says live. Checking the feed here.
Says we're live. Okay. So should I start or?
Yep, go ahead. It says live.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no problem, Chris. Okay, welcome to the technically last meeting of the Sustainable Advisory Group. I know that we do have a lot more. We started with a very, very large group. It kind of got a little bit smaller, but we still have more participants that are on tonight. It just was a last minute meeting we pulled together, and there's a few other folks who told us they had some conflicts. So, thank you to those of you who are here tonight. We are super excited to chat with you. Today's purpose is just to formally wrap up, do a debrief of how the town council meeting went, and then talk through some next steps. Does that sound okay with you guys? Okay, so then let's get started with that. So just by a show of hands, did anybody watch it or listen in? Okay, I see 2 hands, 3 hands. You were in it with me. So I would love to hear from you guys first. What did you think? I mean, Catherine and I were in it, so it's a little different, I think.
It was excellent. Are you talking about the presentation?
Yeah. And how the council responded from your perspective.
It was great. It was really great. I think, I know you all worked so hard on that. I think it all paid off. I hope that they will really read through it carefully because it is a lot of information, but it was presented so clearly. Yeah, I thought it was really excellent. I was so happy it just went along so well.
I agree, and it was so polished. I mean, it was well organized. It was well orchestrated between the two of you. It was a nice balance between presentation styles and who covered what material. I thought it was engaging. Didn't you acknowledge the stuff that was just too much and set aside for later so that I don't think people were overwhelmed, but it was very, very impressive.
Thanks.
I hope it spoke to what this group's intent was in the beginning. I know that, over the course of 9 months with people coming and going, it was a little difficult to condense all those thoughts and comments over the 9 months into something that could be delivered in, 20 minutes, half an hour, with the right amount of, the right focus and amount to get them to do something. So I hope we did justice to what the group wanted to present.
Yeah.
That's always a challenge. I think with a group this large and a topic this big.
Yes. Does anyone else have any observations or comments? Or we didn't get any questions from the town council. So yeah. Catherine and I talked about that afterward, and we weren't quite sure what to make of that. Either they had not done the pre-read and were swamped with other things, which happens. Sometimes it's hard to prepare before a meeting and really absorb everything, or they were so impressed with us that they had no questions, or I don't know, there could be a third answer. I'm not really sure, but we're just trying to wrap our head around. It was tight and they were happy, and we just got a lot of thank yous. Everybody to pass on the praise. People were very gracious and appreciative. That was the biggest takeaway, was they were very, very happy with the work. They were very pleased with the presentation, and they seemed to be, at least the mayor was very excited to have our work acknowledged.
So I did have an opportunity to ask Rick Ledworth, the acting town manager, how he thought it went. He too noticed that there wasn't much feedback at the end, and thought perhaps they didn't have a pre-read and wanted to digest it, because it was a very meaty presentation with a lot of content and a lot of to-dos, and so I do think it will take them a little bit of time to digest it. I did send an email, I think yesterday, to Ben Wenengrad, the chairman of that commission, the chair of that commission, just resent the presentation and asked if they had had time to digest, or any final thoughts or comments for this group as this group was meeting. So I haven't heard back from him yet, but if I do, I will share any of that information with you guys. And I guess I can follow on to that point by saying that Rick Ledworth, the acting town manager, and I have a meeting scheduled for next Wednesday to talk about next steps in terms of convening a meeting with Corporation Counsel and the town clerk's office surrounding that idea of a commission kind of review and refresh.
Which is very exciting. That was the best thing. I did ask, what are our next steps? And Rick said, well, I'll get together with Catherine and we'll talk about that commission recommendation. And so at the very least, they heard that. And so we're happy about that. Trying to remember.
I did run into one of our assistant corporation counsels, Cynthia Latour, the other day as well, and she's up to speed too. She was the one that I was asking a lot of the questions about commissions to in the course of our work, and she noticed that we had done our presentation and she had already downloaded a copy and looked at a lot of the content was there that we had already discussed. So she's kind of up to speed and supportive of that meeting as well.
Wonderful. So
I was just wondering, I had a thought, and we've talked about this before. How many people know about the Sustainability Advisory Group? How many people know that this is a really important juncture in our town for sustainability and this moment when we could go so many different directions as a town? So can we, I just want people to see this 30 minutes of video and see this presentation. And I want people to, who even care a little bit about sustainability, to see it. I would like to, just as Kim Hughes, regular resident of West Hartford, I'd like to post on Neighbors and Friends. I'd like to write something to WeHa, if that's not my preference to start there, but I would just like to offer a simple, like, hey, you should check this out.
Does the speaking of that, that's really fantastic idea, Kim. Catherine, does the town do anything, press releases, or I don't know if you would call it a press release, but if they're an advisory that just says, results of, Sustainable Advisory Group out, can we do one of those?
I will ask Renee. Yes, if we can sort of announce that this group has completed its tasks and presented its results, and share that back. Yes, I'll ask Renee. That's a great idea, Kim. The other things that pop into mind, we too can post a link to the presentation or the presentation itself on Sustainable West Hartford Facebook. And Michael Walsh, who recently interviewed Bernie Pelletier, the chairman of the Clean Energy Commission, and me and Deb Rowe about the Heat Smart campaign, he asked us, if you ever have anything else, he does West Hartford News.
Is he Hartford Current? Is he from the Current?
Yeah, but he does the West Hartford News kind of like the weekend, like more in-depth stories.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, so he asked us, if you ever have anything else you want to get out, let us know. So I could email him directly and Ronnie, and they'll see if it comes out through the town as well. They'll see it and they might pick it up as well. That's a great idea, Kim.
So I just feel like it right now, and we could wait, do we wait? I kept asking myself, do we wait, see what happens, see what the feedback is? I feel like the time is now. If there was just a checklist that you guys could send out to our entire group that includes everything you just said, share with your networks, share with each of our, like, I want to get this out to every single person I know in West Hartford. This is not my thing, social media, but it's,
so I guess my only question on that is, I love the idea. Are we going to make any counselors or feel bad by doing that?
So this was my thought. This is what I would suggest. Simply something big has happened. The work of 1 year for this group has come to an end, and they've made lots of, great, or you don't even need to say great. They've made a complete presentation to the town. It's public. If you care, take a look and make it so simple. Like, leave it. No, we're not guiding anyone. That's really how I feel. I actually would like even if someone is a little reluctant about these sustainability efforts, I would like them to see this. I would like everyone, without any expectation for, their preferences or, what their vote.
I could, Catherine, probably this week we could work on just some very short language that might be recommended for the town, and then you guys could recommend what if you want to use that, because I hesitate on. I think we have to frame it the right way, because I don't want anyone to read it and go, oh, the town's going to do all of these things, right? I mean, I would love for people to think that they're going to, but at the same time, I know the town is going to need to sort through what's really feasible, and we don't want to get people's expectations so high that they can't meet them. So
again, though, this is the presentation.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that would be great. So why don't we do that? The other thing that, while you're mentioning it, we put in the presentation that we committed to do, even though we have not really started this yet, is we said we would help collect copy for the website of our favorite resources for the town, and we would write a short overview of like the topics that we're most interested in and where you can find town resources. And then the town can take that and put that right on the website through Catherine and Catherine. So we will need to start a copy deck probably this week and work on that in the next, I don't know, week or two, and just try to populate it with some starter information. Catherine, I think you sent around an initial idea a couple weeks back. It's very basic, nothing too complicated. But
yeah, I put it into a Google Doc so I can share it with whoever wants to contribute, and I've been populating it as I have ideas. I think Catherine has as well.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful if you could share that with the broader group as another action step. So what I'm hearing is a couple of communication points, like maybe something you can just lift and put on social media. Hey, did you see this that we presented on YouTube? And then getting the town to write the whatever advisory it is. I don't really know what it is, with a notice like completion of work. Here's where you find this. This is the report, whatever. And then like maybe a couple of other suggestions on where other people can post it as their own residents. And then we did ask in the presentation pretty forcefully to ask our leadership to put it on their social media. So maybe in the effort of trying to encourage them, we write a social media post that's for them too. So like I could totally tweak one that's like for them and one that's for us. So we could try that and see if they take them. And if they don't, I mean, I'm sure they have a communications person, or maybe they don't, but
yeah, I think we should draft it and then run it by Renee, to make sure that it's objective as well from her perspective.
So in terms of getting the word out about the work, it's a fantastic idea. Is there anything else that you want to do, or that you want us to do, or that anyone else on the phone wants to help with? I'm just offering because I did marketing for a really long time. So
well, Kim, if you're not comfortable with social media, I mean, I can put it on West Hartford Recycles and then share it to neighbors and friends, and then you can take it from there and share it. And then if I put it on Twitter and you tag people or at people, the council members on their Twitter feeds, then they have access to it. So
that sounds great. That would be great. To do like some combination where I can share, and I mean, everyone has their own comfort level. I will probably, just top off with a couple of words to make it my own.
But share it, then it becomes your own. But I can start with the whatever talking points Julia and Catherine come up with, and then people share as they want.
I just want people I had conversations with 2 people in the last week, and not without even intending to. They as Catherine and Julia said in the presentation, there are a lot of people who are interested.
Yeah.
It's more than 60 people. It's a lot more than 60 people. I, in fact, talked to someone who said, she wants to join, she wants to help. And I said, timing is good. So they're out there.
Does anyone else have any immediate ideas like that about just the presentation that they want us to work on? Because we do have in the next part of this conversation, we want to talk about like other next steps that don't include the town that we could get going on to keep the momentum that we've started going and really like a middle phase, because this is like probably the last formal meeting, and then we'll do a little bit of copywriting, but this is really the last formal activity of the Sustainable Advisory Group, which we thought was really good because, you know, we asked everybody to commit 9 to 10 months. You guys have done that. And, you know, life just happens, things come up. Sometimes people have to step away because they've taken on other projects. We just want to leave this as like the natural point where it's perfectly reasonable. If this is the time for you to break off, then go do that. But if you are committed and want to keep going with a project that's on that list or something that you find really passionate about in order to keep the drumbeat so that they don't stop working on this at the town level, we wanted to start working through who might be willing to do that and take on the reins to keep going in this kind of nebulous period between now and whenever the next iteration of Sustainable West Hartford is launched. Which I think it's okay to say that we might have approval to do a Sustainable West Hartford, but maybe we don't. I don't know. The town still has to really technically research it, but the idea would be it'll become more of a permanent a team between the town and the commissioners and the staff and our residents. So just wanted to talk that through. And then the other thing was the idea about commission. So those are the two major topics that we're moving into. But before I do, I'll go back. Other communications points about this particular project, wrapping it up. Chris, I see your hand is up.
I have a question, Julia, and this might be covered already by something someone said, but that it really is the communication throughout the council and throughout the committees, et cetera, because this one council committee has changed its name, and I don't know if people even really know that. And what I hope will not happen is that in a council meeting in the next few weeks or a month, someone will say, well, why did this committee change its name? What is this? What does this mean? Who are, what's going on here? That kind of thing, because it gives them, if they feel uninformed and they're a little suspicious of the term sustainability, then not feeling informed gives them excuse for it to be kind of resistant. Could make them feel like, well, I wasn't consulted, or I this or I that. I don't know. That's a little more negative than I'd like to be, but it's just a concern.
We might be able to say that since the creation of this group, like when we do a recap of what we've presented, we might be able to also just highlight some other really exciting activities that have taken place independent of what this group has done. For instance, the work that Henry's done with the team to pass the climate resolution. We can say the town is committed to this on its own volition. They also renamed this one committee. I don't know, Catherine, if there's more background that we should share about that, but maybe we give a little shout out to other things that have happened in the last 9 months. I mean, other activities have happened. Some of you guys have started other activities that are relevant to moving some of these topics forward that have to do with, pedestrian life and, bike and ped topics, so maybe there's a way for whatever this notice is from the town to kind of recap. We got silver status, we did all that, you can kind of recap some of the major milestones that have happened in the last few months, possibly in conjunction with the idea that we've been talking about this issue a lot more in the town.
Yeah, there's so much going on. I think that really helps people feel momentum. Like when you talk about the Net Zero Rec Center, about the charging, stations coming in, the silver certification, all that kind of stuff.
The new elementary program.
Yeah, the new. I kind of missed. I was just like a second late, and I missed the new elementary program. So I'm eager to hear about that. But yeah, I mean, I think people want to see action, and we can point to these kind of things.
So a lot of that, Catherine and I are hoping to capture on this new sustainability website too, as we had outlined in the presentation, kind of the structure for that. And you'll see when we share, we'll clean up the Google Doc a little bit before we share it out again. But it's it's structured around little intro on what sustainability is, but then just like topics, like and again, this is back on you guys. What topics do residents want to see? And we'll put up there, if a topic you want to see is not listed here, tell us, and we'll try and include it. But it's structured, kind of, for example, solar or food waste, what is the town doing? So that's where you would have the little blurb about what is the town doing right now on this topic area. What you can do as a resident, and some resources to get started. And then the thing we were hoping to add, and this might be difficult, but a contact. Whether hopefully it might be a staff person in the town, but if not, who's the town group or expert that's operating in this area, so that if a resident is really interested in learning more about that area, they have a contact to go for. So that's kind of the short and sweet. And these are not long, they're like paragraph things, maybe with one photo or so for each topic. But that was kind of how we envisioned it initially, and we can go from there. But that might be what I'm saying, that might be a place to highlight some of this stuff too, so our articles don't get too long.
Just a thought on that. Instead of having a contact for each, activity or whatever, it just might make sense to have like sort of a general like mailbox where you could have one email and then one person that looks at the email and then can assign it to whatever group or committee. Just because when you have a list of different people, jobs change, people leave, and you have to have somebody to keep updating that. It's just something to keep in the back of your mind. Whereas if you have one general mailbox, that all the information is going into one place, and then that's if somebody leaves a commission or whatever it is, somebody changes jobs, that could still get assigned.
That's the Office of Community Engagement, correct?
Yeah, right.
We're trying to get started, but that's a great idea. Ed, keep it evergreen, and that you don't have to go in and update it all the time. We should do that. Mental note. Okay. Other thoughts on this topic, or do you guys want to start talking about? We're going to keep the momentum going.
Did you want me to finish out what you're doing now?
You want to pull up the slide deck and start going through it?
Is that what's next? Yeah, I was going to get ready if that's what we're doing next.
Yeah, I think that wouldn't be such a bad idea. The first idea we had, we don't want to get too overwhelming or say like this isn't, that one topic isn't going to happen or not. We just wanted to see who might be available and have bandwidth to start working on things that don't really rely on the town, and also interest, right? We don't want people to.
Heidi has a question in the chat too. You might want to address. I just realized that. Sorry, Heidi.
Sorry, Heidi. Does Sustainable CT have press contacts or guidance? We should certainly ask them to help us spread the news. That's a great question. Do you know, Catherine? I'm sure they do, but they
do.
They have a newsletter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can send them our presentation and see if they have any suggestions. Their press contacts will be mostly the same as our public relations department press contacts, and we would have additional local ones, I think. Yeah, I don't know what their level of interest in I don't know. It would be nice, yes, to share it with other communities, so that if they're struggling with some of the same questions.
I'm sure if we offered to give them a paragraph on our work in the final report, they would put it in.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but
yeah, we could try it.
If I'm their public relations person, it's a pretty easy.
Yep.
Jim
Hunt is their communications director. So we're working on him. Oh, so I'll tell you guys this as well. Did I tell you guys this? So we're working with Jim Hunt and Sustainable Connecticut. They will be coming to celebrate West Hartford on Sunday. I don't know whether I told everybody. That was Sunday is the day that Mayor Cantor is available, and there'll be a little stage presentation in between some of the music acts, just letting the community know what Sustainable Connecticut is, the fact that we are silver certified, and I think they're going to have a big banner which then we can take and hang in the town green as well. So that's a little addition to celebrate.
If that's this weekend?
That's June 11th and 12th. It'll be June 12th.
I thought it was later in the summer. Maybe there's a takeaways or something from the report. We should make a one-pager or something like, hey, this is some of the suggestions that we've got buy-in. At that point, once we'll see what the town thinks, if there's anything they're prepared to announce or we want to share it. Hello. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. All right, so yeah, Catherine, if you don't mind pulling up the presentation. Chris had to go, but she put a bunch of ideas in the chat, and I think she read my mind because she was like, these are the things I'm interested in, and I was just about to ask her. So that's great. So as you guys know, this is what it looked like. Ta-da, ta-da.
By the way, did you hear Alyssa left Sustainable CT?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, no, she lives in West Hartford, so.
Yeah, I had a meeting with her on some sustainable Connecticut topics, but then also just a debrief on where she was going, right. What she was doing. Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was our to-do list for those guys. Here was the 4 things, that about the thing, and here we are in our list. So Julia, you tell me how you want me to click through it.
I think we just want to skim through and see if anybody has a shout out and says, oh, that looks like something we can start without the town. That's kind of what we were thinking, is we were like, hey, is there anything we can start to get momentum on? And then somebody who would want to actually take on that. And we don't have everybody here tonight, so I'm wondering if we should make a note maybe I'll make a note on the chat or like on the side about what we think is that we could start. Before we, do this haphazardly, we could just go one by one, or you guys can just shout out and be like, I'm already working on this and this is the thing I want to champion. We could do it either way if it's faster that way. But I do think I kind of feel like we can give land acknowledgement language to the town pretty easily. If you go to the first one, that one seems like something we just send to the town, right? And that might be the first one for that one. That makes sense. And we also need a volunteer if anyone wants to do the training with the town counselors, because we said that we could find somebody. So those are the 2.
I'm definitely interested in the training, but I have lots of other avenues where I work in this space, but so open to, I just wanted to note my interest.
Perfect. Thank you.
And that seems like something, no matter what happens, whatever decisions the committee arrives at, that seems like something that is very reasonable to expect the town to be able to commit to, no matter what happens.
That's what we said. So hold on, I'm going to write that down.
Do we know when that training is? That's something I would be interested in as well.
It's offered 3 times a year by Sustainable Connecticut. It's a 3-day thing. They have not posted the dates for 2022 yet, but it's usually spaced out 3 times throughout the year.
Okay.
As soon as it hits their website, it would be great to have the name of the volunteer, and send the dates and the volunteer name back to some of the counselors. So then, and by that time, again, I'm hopeful that we will have a new equity officer on board so that the 3 of those people might pick the session that works best for them. And it doesn't just need to be one resident. If we have a couple of people who are really interested and committed,
Yep.
They can go. Or if we have more than that, they could go to one of the other dates. So we are a registered member of Sustainable Connecticut. These trainings are popular, but they're as long as they're not full, I think the more the merrier as far as Sustainable Connecticut is concerned.
Do we know if those typically happen during like the work week or weekends, or if you don't know?
It's during the day. It's during the day. And they're not day 1, day 2, day 3 consecutively. I think, it might be a week apart or something like that.
Okay.
As soon as they post the dates, I'll let you guys know. But you can find it yourself. It's on the Sustainable Connecticut website. They have a whole section on assistance for communities and a whole section in there on equity training. And it says right there that the dates for 2022 have not been picked yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so the next one, I think. Just skimming through and what is more complicated versus what's not. We could do the education information on the to businesses on the town website, right? Town website.
Yeah, I mean, they're economic development, and Kristen Gorski already has a website as well.
Okay. This one was for circular economies, but
Yep.
we can put that a little bit of text on that one. Okay, for this one, there's a lot more here, so I'm looking to you guys if you help me read through. Is there anything that you see immediately that you're like, we can start those?
And Julia, keep your eye on the chat because I can't see the chat anymore, so I don't know if anyone is sitting there. I know that Ted Gruner is making some progress on some of these already. West Hartford Tree Project he's been plowing ahead with Public Works and Leisure Services. They're doing some tree planting on the new Trout Brook Trail. And he said that he's kind of brought this group of people together to form a kind of an informal tree council or forestry council. So I'm hoping, because I feel like the top bullet point on here is something that everyone I've talked to thinks is a good idea, and I don't quite understand why they can't do a tree canopy study if everyone outside the town and everyone inside the town thinks it's a great idea. Because I don't think it's that expensive.
What is the word fix West Hartford link on the pollinator pathway? What does it mean, fix the link? Is there just the link broken?
The link is broken. It doesn't go anywhere. And it was up in the air or not whether West Hartford is an official member or not. Some of the pollinator garden projects that they had planned, I think, got pushed out due to COVID. Kim, you might know more about it.
Yeah. So we're working on like a pollinator garden, for example, at Trout Brook and Boulevard. We are also just some friends, our little organization. We're also working on that, connecting the dots with the Garden Club, Westmore Park. We are trying to bring all of these groups together that make pollinator gardens to work together. And so we're doing that. Like, there are people that are beginning that work. I had a great conversation with someone from the Garden Club. Oh, and I think the West Hartford Land Trust, who I don't know that much about. Like, these are 4 different organizations that I think are just now realizing they need to come together. So that's that status. And that includes green landscaping, invasive species, pollinator gardens. TED focuses on trees, though, of course, a habitat includes all of these things.
So that's great information for the website. Are you guys working with Leisure Services and our grounds people too, or not at all?
So
this is outside.
So our little group works mostly with John, and John is the one helping us with the pollinator garden. But we have so Leisure Services, that's Westmore.
Yeah.
And we have reached out to Westmore. The folks at Westmore.
Well, and Leisure Services is mostly in charge of all the parks. So right? But maybe John helps with that as well.
Yes. Excellent point. Yeah. So that we should make sure so we've almost got everybody who needs to be a part of the conversation. And we're working on it. Yeah.
So in the chat,
I'm writing that down. Sorry.
Heidi's just generically saying she's good at logistics and she's willing to help. So Heidi, I'll put that as a note, but if there is something that sparks your interest, like more specifically, and you want to do it, then that would be. So I don't want to force you into things.
I'm getting the sense that as we write the copy for the website, some of this might flush out too, once we figure out what people are working on, you know, to write that little summary of what's going on to start with.
Yeah, I just want to see if there's anything on here that we could just like, we could flag. So I think that's kind of it for this one. So the rest of them are grants and spaces and, you know, some website stuff is what we can do. And then the pollinator pathways that Kim's already working on. And then we can't really install signage without support. We can't really change the watershed itself. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just reading. It's very tiny for my screen. That's why I'm very close. So I only have so big of a screen. Okay, I think that's it for this one. And I got everything Ted was doing too.
I think the Arts Commission is doing a lot of work in this area that we don't necessarily know about.
Okay. I'm just going to say covered by Arts Commission.
Oh.
Manner, circulate the resolution. Can we have them circulate the resolution? Or that's the commission has to do that, sorry. Can we start fact sheets? Is there anything we want to do there? Or I think this might be one of those difficult ones where we really need a lot of support from the town. Anyone else seeing anything in here that they think low hanging fruit for us? Okay, next one.
So I can work with, I mean, I'm planning to work on the second bullet point, circulate the resolution. You know, that was on the to-do list. But I don't know if Henry's still on, but I will work with him. You know, we'll write. Are you there?
I'm here.
So I'll work with Henry. I'm volunteering. I don't know. Is that me? The feedback? I'm going to volunteer Henry and I to work together, and we'll write kind of an introductory paragraph for a memo that would come from the town manager or the commission, whoever wants to be the from. But we'll write the copy that we would then attach the resolution to, pointing out the key phrases in it, you know, and you know, that we should be operationalizing this way of thinking.
Got it. Okay, next.
Is that okay, Henry?
I'm trying to stay muted because I think I'm the one that's screwing you up.
So for all this work, I think Johannes and Jay are already doing a lot of things separately, as much as is going to be happening from a resident perspective. Does that feel accurate? I don't know.
I know Jay's doing a whole bunch.
They've got campaigns going to try to, you know, have more bike lanes and to have a fully dedicated space in on LaSalle Street. Like, there's a whole campaign going on that they're working on. So I feel like they've already started. So I don't really know if there's anything else in here that you guys can see, but a lot of that had to do with ideas that they just started moving around. So they just were like, let's get going. So like the protected bike lane, that's what they're advocating for. And I don't know if there's I mean, we got to work on bus, like all this stuff is like town focused, you know. Okay, what's the next one? The rest of this one?
Hold on. Sorry, hold on. There we are.
Okay, yeah, okay. That's not, the rest of it's done. On to 7. Going through this pretty quickly, which is good.
I'm trying to move.
Okay. There's some website stuff in here. Catherine, I think you're already on that. But we can't convert the LED lights. We can't change the solar. We can't do state legislation. We can't do the Heat Smart campaign. We can't do, what is participate in sustainable CT GPI technical assistance program for Soul Smart? Can we do that?
So no, a lot of this stuff is in the works, or we are having discussions on it. Yes, that's a discussion about Soul Smart is a national designation around communities that have taken steps to prioritize or encourage education and easy adoption of solar, either by just providing education and information or by streamlining their permitting process. There are a whole bunch of optional actions that you can do, kind of like Sustainable Connecticut, to earn points.
Got it.
And Sustainable Connecticut is offering free technical assistance around that program. And so I'm in discussions with building services about whether we can sign up for that technical assistance and take steps to look where we stack up.
So I think what I've got down here is that the Clean Energy Commission and yourself are really kind of on a lot of these already, pushing things forward. Like many of these aren't going to fall off the radar. They're very much on the radar.
Yes, some more so than others.
Yeah. Okay. But
I see on the last bullet, ensure that every West Hartford public school has a green team or environmental club. That is a dream. And I have some experience here. I would love to support somebody here and I feel like that is something that does require more than, it requires a team of key players, but there is the, Catherine, what's it called? The Green Ribbon Schools,
Yep, Green Leaf. It's
Green
down
Leaf
there.
Schools.
Thank you.
Kim, that one. So you got the one at the bottom of short term, and then you've got Greenleaf down at the bottom of middle term.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So
they're
part
both
of
in there.
Greenleaf is the green team. That's why I jumped to that. But
Yeah.
like that is a small but important one. And I'm actually on the board of COEA, who kind of helps with Greenleaf schools. So keep that. I don't know.
Maybe Kim and Catherine and I and anyone else who might be a parent or in West Hartford Public Schools or invested in this, that also is a dream of mine too. And Catherine and I, probably the timing was wrong. When she came on board, we tried to reinvigorate and identify, kind of the key people at West Hartford Public Schools who might be leaders of these green teams and, people, and figure out which schools had them already and which didn't. And I think some of them have fallen apart. Some of them might have come back into existence.
That was going to be my question: is do we even have a baseline of what schools are? Because I know Webb Hill has a green team, and they're pretty active.
Yep, the eggs. So let's maybe.
I think we flag it as parents, and you guys can take it offline and figure out what.
Yeah. Well, maybe as part of our Google Doc with the website, we can capture that knowledge from you guys, a broad base of residents, and because I think Catherine and I would like to know that as well.
It's something I'm getting a real sense at as I spend so much time in the schools now, finally, starting these programs. I really have, even just being in 2 schools so far, I get a sense of which teachers are invested. I'm meeting kids who have ideas. So it's an opportunity for me to rethink this as well, because I like Catherine said, we thought about it. I think the timing was wrong.
That teacher or staff person.
Teachers and staff were overwhelmed a year ago with COVID.
Yeah.
And they probably still are, but that's awesome that you're recognizing who those people might be. That's a key step. But there are all, and in addition, I will just throw in that there are really big equity and inclusion and diversity implications for these green teams and this work.
Great. I look forward to talking to you about that more then, Kim.
And let me know about it too. The students might be interested in coming in. I don't know if they would be, helpful in that situation, but they can be kind of ambassadors, especially to the lower grades. It's always like, oh, there's a big kid, what are they doing?
Henry, that's a really key piece.
Okay. Love this idea. Wrote it all down. Next.
Okay.
Okay. We're working on the first one. Well,
Yeah, so I got to tell you, Rick Ledworth, the acting town manager, he liked that idea. I don't know what I don't know what needs to happen for the first bullet point to happen, but he said, "Oh, I like that idea."
Great. That's good to know. We will do we've already required, well, we're going to try to get the commissioners to go. We're going to try to get the commission. Let's see. I'm just reading.
Yeah, we've got a lot.
Sustainable CT's community match fund on the website.
Yes, that'll go on the website.
Okay. The virtual option for participation in all town meetings. I mean, that's okay. I think Heidi had mentioned in the chat, Heidi, if you're still on, you said you wanted to do a community conversation, and this is one where it says community conversations on topics TBD. Do you want to be the community conversation person? And is that like you do that at the library, or like how do we might be able to have a community conversation? Well, put it in the back of your mind.
Yeah, so I think the community conversations, and I'm not 100% sure, but the community conversation idea was launched through Noah Webster House around some equity topics, and West Hartford Community Interactive helped out. There were also some more what they called community conversations, but they were really more town-based around public safety and things like that. And those were kind of conversations between the town manager and the police chief, kind of more, I guess those to me were what Noah Webster House ones seem to be more topic based, and the town ones seem to be more kind of like public open forum, kind of.
That makes sense. I mean, but what I'm saying is, like, if we wanted to have something even about this, if you guys wanted to put something on about this, we could do that at the library. Okay, the next one I think is the next. And again, I'm just skimming as fast as I can as my little eyes can read. So if anyone sees any that I'm missing. I know Rachel's working with the town on the farmers markets. Is that under strategic materials management? I don't remember if it's this one or the next one.
I think it's a little later.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think this one's kind of limited to what we can do. But
without
Catherine,
outside the town, yeah,
exactly. Catherine Bruns, is there anything that you're already working on that you want us to be aware of?
Small print for me too. Sorry with my. Well, when we report the data, trying to get the word out on the waste crisis, so to a certain degree.
Okay.
You know, I give presentations, so some of these things are ongoing.
Okay. And will you be one of the people that the main people to help make sure this one doesn't get lost, right?
Yeah.
All right. 10. Optimal health and wellness, anti-aging, anti-idling. Wow. See? Too small. Anti-aging creams distributed to everybody who lives in West Hartford. I'm just kidding. Oh, the signage and the presence of the food market. That's what Rachel's working on. And other food market related things.
Sorry, Julia, what's the anti-idling campaign?
That is so that you don't have your car staying on while you're sitting near parks. That was the idea.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't mean my anti-aging distribution?
Why wouldn't that be more of a town-wide thing? Why just parks? Why not like schools or
I certainly think it could be broader.
like in the center?
There is signage at schools that's mandatory. There's state mandated signage for anti-idling at schools, also targeted at school buses, but also parents waiting. So there should be signs at all school facilities. This is a specific action from the Sustainable Connecticut program. So there are a bunch of examples of towns who have expanded beyond schools into the community.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Places where you might find people sitting in their cars waiting for their kids on a field or something. So it's a targeted campaign and signage throughout the community rather than just the mandatory stuff that happens at school facilities.
So I'm sorry, I just saw something. We route to an organization that I'm a part of. We are working on, where did I see it? Community gardens. That is something that we are having conversations with leisure services about right now.
Okay. Great.
FYI.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that.
Kim, for my knowledge, are the town community gardens like fully subscribed? Is there a huge wait list?
I'm not sure about the wait list, but the process is so kind of old. I don't think they log a wait list. I think they completely fill. People who were past members get first dibs, which makes sense. And they're completely full. And they're all, just to refresh everyone's memory, there's one by Westmore Park, there's one by Buena Vista, and there's one in the Walcott area.
So I put that down, Kim, that you are, I wrote that you're aware of what's going on with school gardens, not that you're responsible for it, but that you know what's going on and that you're probably you're working on community gardens right now with leisure services.
Right.
Next, 11. I feel like all these are too hard for all of us. So next. This really has to do with affordable housing. Okay. Some of this is just like the town has to collect and develop the relationships. The town has to do the local warming things. We could do a community conversation about compensated living experience. So that could be another community conversation. So Heidi, maybe you're gonna be hosting us like 3 community conversations. Maybe with the Noah Webster House. I'm gonna put maybe or yeah, and then the last one is just these are the innovation categories. So we have a pretty healthy list of things that we could get started on, at least, or that some of you have already started on. I will share that with everybody else, or with all of you, sorry, everybody else. What's wrong with me tonight? I will share that out with everybody. And the last thing we wanted to talk about is that as the town is going to revisit this whole commission structure, but there are lots of vacancies on some of these commissions. And so we would just encourage you to go take a look at the commissions and see if there's anything that you personally think you'd be a good match for. And then if you do think that you would be a good match, please let Catherine know about that. And just as a it works sort of story, I know, Kim, you had been applying and then you recently got added to one of the commissions, right? So how is that going? Do you want to tell anybody about it or what it's like?
I was just going to ask you guys if you, after the presentation, if there were any particular insights on that request for a commission revamp or, commission cleanup.
Well, that's the meeting that she's going to have with Rick in a couple of days. They're going to start talking.
Oh, okay. And no indicators, nothing like that. So I would just say it's not the work of this commission is not quite what I expected.
Which commission are you on again?
I'm sorry, Conservation and Environment.
Okay, thank you.
It's not quite what I expected, but let's just say there's lots and lots of potential and lots of room for I think pivoting to work on topics and talk about things that are really urgent in West Hartford. Something that just, I think, didn't our group have a conversation about how outdated the composting regulations are in our town, and like maybe the regulations around how high people can have certain like growth in their front lawn. It kind of affects the types of native plants they might want to grow, things like that. Simple things I think should be simple, really outdated. So there's just lots of potential. I'd say that. And I'm not sure where we're at with vacancies, actually, now that you mention it, because I know, of course, about the balance of, political parties being represented.
Well, I believe that
guys know.
Goes beyond conservation and environment. There's a lot of vacancies on different commissions. Some of them have several seats open. So just something to be aware of, that if that is of interest to you, feel free to think about that. Before we move off this topic, though, Catherine, can you stop sharing the screen so we can all see faces again?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, don't worry. It's perfect. I just wanted to ask, and not to put anyone on the spot, but I did get, I wrote down some people's names, but there are some of you on the phone here. I'm not being voluntold or anything. I just want to know if you missed a thing and you wanted, like Luciana or John or Ed, if you wanted to volunteer for anything or say, oh, that's the thing I really want to do. If you're cool, that's fine. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss you guys.
I just wanted, Heidi wrote something on solar. So I just wanted to let her know the Clean Energy Commission is planning to host a workshop on solar, either separately or through the library, because a lot of the solar programs have changed recently, and talking about that. So that is in the works through the Clean Energy Commission. They're going to be doing something on heat smart, on EVs, and on solar. That's kind of their package of probably through the library workshops that will be coming up, spaced out. And I think the library records them too, so they could be posted for future viewing.
Great.
So that's not really community conversation, but it's a workshop.
Well, I did write down Heidi's name in number 7, saying, hey, Heidi might be willing to help you out with something on solar or a tent or something like that. But Heidi, you don't have to do for different community conversations. You pick and choose what you want to do. It's fine. And the rest of you can also, we'll send this around to the broader team and just let people kind of throw out there, take a look at the presentation again. Okay, this is the thing I'm working on, the thing I'm going to keep going. So before we end today, I just wanted to talk to you guys about and get your thoughts on, is there another way that you think we should make sure that the ball doesn't drop on this? Is there anything else you think we should do? Again, we're basically done as a formal group, but we've done a lot of great work. We've given them a lot of fantastic ideas, and I know none of us just wanted to fall into, you know, a place where it doesn't get looked at or revisited again. So that was part of the idea of trying to go through the list and keep at least a little ball rolling and a little knock on the door, like, hey, we're still interested. Any other suggestions on what you guys would like to see over the next couple months in that term space?
I'm wondering if we do an informal get together. You know, obviously, you know, we've fulfilled our obligation from the town, but you know, maybe it's a good idea if a few of us get together every month or every other month, you know, just to see, you know, where we're at and to, you know, gauge how quickly the town is, or not quickly, you know, if they're not making any headway, you know, just a thought, you know, just more like an informal thing. And, you know, because we're all pretty well versed in, you know, what we've done for the past year here. So
Yeah, I second that. I was thinking along the lines of the same thing. I mean, one of the most valuable things that has come out of this, for me at least, is just knowing, you know, so many people in the town that are working on different things, so that I know, you know, if I have a project that takes me in this direction, you know, to reach out to this person, you know, and also just the number of projects that I've become aware of through you guys that I would never have known of otherwise.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if we just keep this going, maybe even if it's once a month, just the connections that we're able to build through this and then learn of the projects has been invaluable for me on my end. I've learned about a lot of things I wouldn't have been aware of otherwise because of this group. So
You could all meet at the event Natural Dividends is hosting on Earth Day.
definitely.
Your event that you're hosting.
Right?
That sounds like a plan.
I think you should all do that for sure. So then just, I guess now is good a time as any. I need to pass the baton on to someone else. So is there anyone who wants to be the person that takes on the informal? I mean, I know it's informal, but you're still going to need somebody who's going to be willing to raise their hand and send you guys an email every once in a while and say, hey, let's try to get together. And you guys can rotate that if you want, but I don't know who wants to take the first one.
And I can check with the town. I don't know if there are any town rules around, you know, we've been meeting as a formal group. We've been scheduling, we've been notifying the meetings, we've been holding them on WebEx. So I think, you know, if we fold the formal group, the invitations and the Zoom invites or whatever might have to come from one of you guys. I can check, but I would venture to say that we can't continue to use the town's platform if it's going to be.
I don't think it would go through the town. I think it would go through a different set of people, and probably you might even want to meet live more than once. So I'm guessing.
Right.
mm-hmm.
When the recording stops, I'll tell you what my whole.
I think I can try to coordinate that.
Cool. And it sounds like Tim had a great idea for the first one, so it sounds like you're going to John's event.
Yeah, I say, like, you do the first one, and then at that meeting, pick who's going to organize the next one. You know, like, keep passing it along.
Keep passing.
I think that's a good idea. Somebody else can take it for the next time. That way it doesn't fall on one person.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
Awesome.
Okay.
And you guys have the tag email list. Now, there might be some people who don't want to be on that anymore, and there might be some other people that you want to add to that list. You know, I think at this point in time, and, you know, depending on how big or public you want these invitations to be, you can use the Sustainable West Hartford Facebook page You know, I don't know if you want to put a Zoom link out there. I don't know how that works, but again, I guess that's up for the group to decide.
Well, I think we should, as part of our final email recapping tonight, we'll tell people we can create a Google Doc and have people opt in with their email over there, and that'll be the new listserv, and you guys can add people to it.
That's a good idea.
Way it's completely separate, and you're just gonna be able to keep moving. And then just as an idea to throw out there, I know we've lost a few people because of timing, but we'll put this in the email too. When that new Sustainable West Hartford gets off the ground, this group, or at least every conversation I've had with Catherine, is that we'll definitely make sure you guys know about it first, right? So if this is something you're passionate about, want to continue, and I don't know if it's going to be an application or what they're going to do, again, what form it's really going to take, but you know, this is probably coming, and you should definitely be the first people to think about it as an option for you. It's
not only the team, but potentially new commission spots as well, you know, on reinvented or new commissions, if we could get a waste reduction and materials management off the ground as well. I have no idea what the timeline on any of that stuff would look like, but
Might be a while.
this is all stars in our eyes, dreams of what the town could potentially do. So to anybody who happens to ever be watching this on YouTube, we know the town has not committed. We are fully aware, and we are just keeping our fingers crossed and are excited because they did show some enthusiasm. All right, well,
Oh, wait, one more thing before we sign off.
yeah,
Let's one more thing as well.
Have an open discussion a little bit, because that's what people liked with some of the previous meetings, right?
Right. There's a bill that's going up at the Capitol, SB4, which is going to basically mandate. It's related to clean air, but it's going to mandate electric school buses and things like that. But one of the big things is that the proponents are looking to make e-bikes eligible for tax rebates, much like you would for an electric vehicle. And I know that the cost of an e-bike is much less than an electric vehicle, so that would expand the opportunities for lower income population to take advantage of that. So keep an eye out for that, and I think they're accepting a written testimony on that. So it's the bill is SB4. So if you're interested in clean air and things like that, it's.
Mary Donegan posted posted on Sustainable West Hartford about that bill and how you can testify, and a summary, some great information about that
awesome.
bill. It's out there on Sustainable West Hartford Facebook. She just posted it a little while ago today.
I'll
So
have to check that
some
out.
good summaries and links to what you can do. And a lot of that, I can tell you, my email was blowing up over the last few days with information about that on the Clean Energy Network, on the Connecticut Energy Network, which is a kind of statewide clean energy commissions kind of network.
I had one thing to share because John approached Celebrate West Hartford to offer natural dividends as a force to volunteer and support materials management at the event. We had a meeting with John Phillips, Director of Public Works, and John Humphreys, and with the team of volunteers that we're going to be looking for more, I'm sure. So if you all know, we're going to do food waste diversion at Celebrate. And we're going to, I think, push the vendors to separate their food waste, and that will be picked up separately by Public Works. And then with John's help and with people I can find, we're going to have the 4 or 5 waste stations around the food area have the third option of food waste, and with educational messaging around why this is important and that the volunteers will be able to share. So thank you, John, for that. That's just terrific. Without him sort of approaching us, bringing volunteers, I'm not sure that would have gone that far. So it's terrific. I wanted to share that.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll definitely be looking for volunteers.
Volunteers,
So
yeah.
anyone is interested in helping us out, more than happy to have you.
Okay.
Tell a little bit more about your Earth Day event, John.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna have an Earth Day event. It's gonna be April 24th at the former St. Augustine School. It's gonna have yoga. It's gonna have a litter cleanup, which we call negative net hiking, community outreach. And then it's also gonna have a plastic film collection, and then a food drive. And then as far as organizations that are going to be there, a lot of you are going to be there. But we have Blue Earth Composting, Heat Smart West Hartford is going to be there. The Clean Energy Commission is going to be there. Root to Rise will be there. Grassroots West Hartford. West Hartford Recycles. The Citizens Climate Lobby. West Hartford Land Trust. Energize Connecticut Mobile Unit. Which is like an interactive unit, which will be great for kids and families. And then Kathy Sipes signed up as well, and she's going to bring a crew of master gardeners there to answer questions. So we got a big group of people that are going to show up, so it's going to be super exciting. I'll send out an email if you guys are interested. It'll have our Eventbrite, which has tickets. They're all free tickets, but just so we can track people that are going. And then also, if you know people interested, share that out. We want to try to get as many people as we can because it's going to be a great event with a lot of information for how people can live a more sustainable lifestyle at home.
And the site that John's referring to where he's holding it is 100 Mayflower, which is the site that's going to become the new Elmwood Community Center. So it's the town-owned property, if people didn't know that.
Lovely. Cool.
Yeah, and,
great
and just one more. So the mobile kind of energy display thing that John was talking about that the Clean Energy Commission's bringing, it's like this 28-foot long like thing that it was a partnership between Energize Connecticut and Mad Science. If anybody knows that program, it's like a hands-on kids thing. It looks really cool. I have a PowerPoint of it, and I think we're going to bring it to Celebrate as well. Hopefully it'll be really cool for the kids.
That sounds so
It's new. It's there. They closed their center in North Haven. They had an actual like storefront in the North Haven Mall, like next to the Target, and no one was going there. So that closed down and they turned it into a mobile unit, which I think is going to be really cool. And I've already told some schools about it. So schools might be interested in getting that in their parking lots too at some point.
Anyone else have any other announcements? Right, Catherine, do you just want to stop the recording and I just want to keep you guys for like 10 more seconds? Is that okay? Or can you stop the live stream or does it shut it down?
Are we done? Yep. I'm not sure I can shut the live stream off. Let me see. Oh, yes, maybe I can under here. Okay, we're done?
I think we're done for tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
Make it stop on